In this conversation, Giovanna Silvestre opens up about her profound spiritual awakening and the transformative power of confusion. She shares her personal struggles with depression and highlights how embracing confusion as a virtue became a pivotal force in her self-discovery. Giovanna reveals how these challenges guided her to create a thriving business and write a book. Throughout the discussion, she emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment, being open to new experiences, and harnessing confusion as a catalyst for personal growth and creativity. Please welcome Giovanna Silvestre. Welcome to my show, Giovanna.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, tell me about your journey. Last time we spoke, you told me about your spiritual journey, but for my audience that hasn't heard about your spiritual journey, please enlighten us on your spiritual journey.
Well, I got to go back a little bit. I mean, really, my spiritual awakening happened in my late teens. So that was a while ago. I'm not going to say how long because I don't want to age myself. But in my late 20s, I fell into a really deep, dark depression, and it it got so bad to where I no longer had control over my thoughts at all. I was literally thinking all the time. It was like a loop of my shortcomings, things I did that, didn't meet my expectations, and how I was a loser and not good enough, and all of that. And I couldn't stop. I mean, it got so bad. And at that time, I got very real with myself, and I said, okay, how did we get to this point? And at that time, I did understand that I had gotten to that point because I had been ignoring myself for so many years and ignoring my emotions. And I just kind of like pushed things down. And so I had been living my life, which is very common, I think, for everyone at some point in their life. I was living my life kind of thinking what would look good, like I want the career that everybody wants and desires. I want the things that people desire and would make me look good and cool and acceptable. I want to do what would make my parents happy and how they would be proud of me. So I was constantly looking at what everybody else was thinking of me, when you actually don't know anyway, which this is all like illusion in your head, right? Or delusion. And I was just ignoring myself. And it is so funny that we do that, because it's, looking back on it now, nobody was looking at me and caring about me because they were too concentrated on their own lives. So it's really funny that we feel like we have to check all these boxes to make ourselves acceptable to people that aren't even thinking about us. Except maybe our parents. You have, some pressure with your parents. A lot of people have that, but even that, at some point, you just have to let go and go, you know what? This is my life, and I need to figure out what I want to do here. So that led me into my dark place. Then, by the grace of God, I was able to pull myself out of it with a bunch of tools and tips that I go over in my book. And after I pulled myself out of it, I'm like, okay, well, now what? Like, who am I? Why am I here? Because I had been ignoring myself for so long. I didn't even know really what I liked and didn't like. I'm like, maybe a lot of the things I've done, well, my whole career path was me thinking what would look cool to other people. So I'm sure other things that I thought I liked, I don't really like. And so I was hanging out with all of these girls one day, really cool girls doing all these different creative things. And they're like, well, what do you want to do now, Giovanna? And I said, well, I had worked in Hollywood. I was like, I don't want to do that. I thought I'd take over my parents' business, tried it, was like, nope. And I'm like, I think at this point, I'm just really confused. And I would like to start a blog called Confused Girl in the City, because that's the most genuine thing about me right now, is that I know I'm confused. And they're like, oh, that's brilliant. And so they went online and saw that the domain name was open. No one had taken that. So I bought it right there, confusedgirlinthecity.com. And then I go, okay, well, I'm going to now start a blog, a vlog. Actually, it was a vlog on YouTube where every week I talked about um, a new thing. I talked about my confusion, but then I also talked about a new thing I was going to do every week. I committed to doing one new thing every week in an attempt to figure out who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like, and it was really funny. I said something kind of brilliant and silly all at the same time. I said something like, I'm hoping by doing enough things that lead to nowhere, it leads to somewhere. And I'm like, now I look at that, I'm like, that's quite brilliant. Because if you do enough things just to do them, to discover yourself, you are going to figure out, don't like this. Ooh, really like this. This brings me joy. I'm going to start incorporating that into my life. Let me look at some other, so you really are starting to figure out who you are. And so I did that, and that just put me on such a cool adventure of figuring out myself. And then that led to my purpose, which is ever evolving and changing. Through that, yoga really helped me. So I started, this was over a decade ago before everybody was making yoga leggings. I started making yoga leggings. I'm an OG in the yoga legging space. And I created a line called Confused Girl in the City. And I started making leggings inspired by different healing crystals, which is really cool. So, like, you're wearing a pair of black marble leggings, and then it says on the website what marble helps with, because every stone has a different healing property. So it's very intentional. It's a very intentional brand. I'm actually wearing my crop hoodie, Choose Love. That's part of my line. And so I started the line, and I mean, that again, I talk about that adventure. I write about that in my book, things I learned from that, and what a wild, it's such a wild adventure. I literally was working part-time jobs to be able to fund this, and figured it out through trial and error, a lot of error. And I figured out how to start selling these suckers. And then I started selling them all over the world. There's lots of girls in Canada with my leggings. I would ship a lot to Canada, and I sold thousands of articles of clothing just from my house. My room became like a shipping distribution center. And so after a few years of doing that, and it was going well, I got this inspiration to write a book. And I'm like, you know what? I really need to share what I've learned about confusion, because I truly believe that confusion is a virtue, and that when you're confused, you don't need to feel awful about yourself, and you don't need to shame yourself. It's actually, you can look at it as a really exciting time, because the questions that come from the confusion lead to, and that leads to infinite possibilities about you and your life and where you can go. And if you don't welcome confusion and you reject it, you're going to have a painful life, because confusion is an inevitable part of our existence. It was funny, because I think some people hear that, and they're like, wow, that's profound, that's so cool, confused girl. But then other people get upset about it. It's really interesting. Some people, one lady told me, why don't you call your line Grounded Girl? And I said, because grounded girl doesn't need the help that confused girl needs, lady. Okay? Take your grounded girl and walk away. And I actually was in a Buddhist temple in Thailand, and the guide was, giving us a tour of the temple. And I told him, he was talking about confusion, and I was like, I named my brand Confused Girl in the City. And he told me, he's like, that's actually very wise, because Buddha says that we all have the confusion. And I was like, yes, I knew I was onto something. Buddha and I on the same wavelength here. So I got the inspiration to write this book, and my line was doing well. I was able to support myself. And I'm like, and I saw the market was going to change, and competition was going to come in. So I was like, girl, go now, go now. So I organized my entire business to be mobile because I really wanted to write this book outside of Los Angeles. I wanted to write it in a different country because I wanted it to be inspired and I also wanted to feel peaceful, and LA is not peaceful. And so I took my booty to Bali and it was great because, not expensive. I could really just get into the writing and the atmosphere because you become your atmosphere. Like, even a lot of times, the energy here in LA, I don't like it, but you just naturally become it in a way because you're surrounded by it. You naturally, like, when I get here, I naturally become less social. I stay home a lot. It's because everything's like so distant and far, and nobody's willing to kind of hang out. LA is kind of a strange place, and it's going through a very weird moment. But you become your setting. And so Bali was just the most amazing place to write my book because it's such a spiritual place. And the people literally walk around with like light in their eyes because they're always doing their spiritual ceremonies. And the kids there are just like the happiest kids on earth. I mean, they're just the babies, you just like never hear a baby cry. The babies are always smiling and giggling with their big chubby cheeks. I mean, they're so cute. I just love the Balinese people. It was such a gift to be able to write my book there. And I'd wake up and I do yoga every day. Then I would sit at a cafe. And then on the days where I had the inspiration and I had the energy, I would write. And on the days I didn't have the inspiration or the energy, I would just go, okay, I'm not doing this today. I wouldn't make myself feel bad. I wouldn't shame myself. I'd just be like, nope. We are going to do this book different than we have done everything else in our life. It is going to be guided by the divine, and I'm just the vessel here. So, yeah, it was an incredible experience.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you turned your confusion into a superpower. It's like me with fear. I turned my fear into a superpower, and I actually wrote a book myself on fear, and it's called The Enemy Within, known as fear, our strongest opponent. And I just finished it actually, so
Oh
we're
my God.
both.
I love that. I love that. That's
Thank you.
amazing. No,
Thank you.
fear is like the root of all the things we don't want.
Absolutely. And I turned it into a superpower because I had trauma, but I realized all those people were kind of guiding me to something better because of my trauma, because I would have started the podcast. I never would have wrote this book. I never would have met you. Like, I never would have met anybody in this world now because of my trauma. So I embrace my trauma now, and I'm so happy to have it because without it, none of this is real.
Yeah.
I'm a different person. I'm in a different life.
You're in a different dimension.
That's right.
You know, um, I love that because I feel the same way. And I'm so happy that I got to such a bad place because I really did hit rock bottom, and I thought, if I can't figure this out and change this, then I don't want to be here anymore because this is too painful. So I and I'm and that sounds so drastic and harsh, but it's like I'm so happy that that actually happened because also there's an empathy inside of me that understands the pain of other people. And that's also why I wanted to write my book. And I'm sure why you wanted to write yours as well, because I wanted to just let other people know, listen, you are not alone. I have been there too. It's okay. And there is a way through this. And not only is there a way through this, you can have you can make this the most incredible life ever. If you can, if you can, take this and let it propel you forward.
Definitely. And it's almost like we have to like lose something and to go in those, like, it's almost like our guides are like pushing us to something better. Because I know, like, with a lot of people that have health problems, that's your guides telling you to slow down and relax. Or if you're having mental problems, that's your guides trying to communicate, okay, you need to experience this. But it's almost like the most brilliant people in the world, they had to have some form of trauma, they had to have some form of depression because we all know that we create everything that happens in our lives. We create it. No one else does it for us. We're the ones that have to be 100% responsible. And that's what I'm learning following this law of assumption and how it works and how I created all my trauma. But there was a reason I created my trauma, so it would steer me in the path that I'm on now. And because of the path I'm on now, I'm learning so much more about spirituality. Otherwise, I'd still be one of those people who is asleep, scrolling on their phone for hours of day. Doom scrolling, I've heard, is a new thing.
Doom scrolling. It's so funny. My friend in Austin, Texas, he literally keeps me in the know because he messaged me the other day. He's like, I'm deleting my Instagram. I'm doom scrolling. And then I was like, what's doom? So I Googled it. And it's basically like you're looking at LA fires, you're looking at people dying in the Middle East, you're looking at all the negative things happening in the world. And so I just learned that too. So there you go.
I call it dopamine detox because it's activating your mind in a certain way. It's like when you're watching Netflix for hours upon hours a day, that's another form of dopamine that's taken from your brain. And we don't even realize it's happening.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. We have to be so careful about that. I'm all about a good like Netflix and chill and my trash TV, but there's a time for it and then there's a time to live.
Yes.
And you got to incorporate the living into, at some point. Because
Yes.
otherwise, what are we doing here? Just watching TV?
Living to exist is what I call it.
Yeah.
Not living to live, not living to enjoy, and there's just so much division too, and like depression and everything that's going on, and you just can't do anything about it because it's all over, like everywhere, and it's like they're just promoting it, pushing it on you, and driving it down our throats, and we can't stop it, but we can also not watch it. So that's the thing. But with us being so addicted to our phones and the internet and everything, you got to be careful because even a small scroll, you're on something. And it's amazing. Like I catch myself now when I go on Facebook or anything to like not be on there longer than like 2 minutes. Otherwise you're there for hours and you don't even realize it.
You don't realize it. Yeah, no, it's true. And they're so sophisticated because they're doing everything that they can with all the technology and all the things to keep you on that sucker. I mean, it's literally like a form of witchcraft.
Yes.
It is kind of like witchcraft because it's like using all the science and all the things to when you get on there to like get you in there and suck you in and sell you this, sell you that, show you something to make you feel insecure or scared or, and us humans, unfortunately, we go to that. We're
Absolutely.
not with the clickbait, we click on the things that sound crazy. Woman just killed her husband. Husband just kills her woman. A family killed. Like we go to those things. We're not like, oh, Good Samaritan just did this. Nope, we don't click on that. We click on the negative things. I mean, even with myself, and I'm very self-aware, but I'm like, why am I watching these true crime killer things all the time? And it is a thing with women too. At first I thought I was like the only weirdo. And then I was talking to this bartender and I was sitting at a bar when I was on vacation and he's like, what shows do you like? And I was like, I love my true crime. And he's like, you and every other woman. And then I thought, does every other woman like this? Then I started talking to my friends and they love the true crime. And I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't know that so many women are addicted to this. Now, see, I didn't also think that because my mom doesn't watch that. My mom is very Hallmark, Disney. She likes that kind of stuff. Where I'm like true crime addict. And I'm questioning why do all of us women, why are we so addicted to this? I think one, it's psychological. Like we like to figure out the psychology of what's going on, almost to protect ourselves, I think in a way. Kind of not get sucked into a bad relationship with like a sociopath. And we're because a lot of the violence is done to women. And I mean, still men too, but mostly you hear women. And so I think it's a way to kind of protect ourselves or something. It's very odd though that we literally watch it as our go-to before we go to bed.
You must have some interesting dreams when you go to sleep then.
Right? I mean, and I'm still psychologically analyzing myself on this and why I do this, but I guess as human beings are just kind of wired like that. So we have to be really careful of what we're tuning into. And my friend in Austin, we had lots of conversations about the dopamine and stuff that you get. Because we my friend and I, because I was staying with him, I was a month in Austin and I was staying with him because he has like a big house. So I had my whole like upstairs area. And I just wanted to check out Austin and see what it was like living there. I love that city. And we would go on walks and we just talk about everything. We're both like analytical thinkers. We like to philosophize. And we were talking about how people like why there's so much flakiness and why people say, "Oh yeah, I'll show up," and then they don't show up. This is within dating and but he even said, "Giovanna, don't think men are just doing this to you and other women." He's like, "They're doing it to me too." And I said, "I don't remember growing up like before we had cell phones and stuff, and even after we had cell phones, like I don't it, like, wasn't until the smartphone and online dating started that this flakiness started to happen, and I'm like, "This just wasn't like this before." And he was like, "Well," he said that one of the things he thinks, which I totally agree, is that people now get their dopamine not from going out and socializing and being out and about. They can sit on the TV. They don't have to wait for their favorite show. They can stream whatever they want. Then we can be on our phones as we're watching TV and then scrolling, looking at this, looking at that. So that's giving us that. So we got the TV giving us that. Then we got our phones giving us that. Then, I mean, there's also, especially for men, there is like porn addiction too. And it's like, well, why am I going to go out with that girl and have to be charming, have to get ready, be charming, act like I like her, spend money when I can just watch porn and I have my toy and then I can watch Netflix and I don't have to shower and go to bed and I got work tomorrow. I'm too tired for that? So it's like people are just they're huh? Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny because even I have these my neighbors where we're really a funny crew. I have the and I've because I've lived here for um over a decade, right? So these my neighbors are like my family. And there's like it's four men who are older, like 50s, 60s, right? And they call me their little sister and I get like the inside scoop to things with them. It's so funny. We'll be hanging out. It's like four old men and me, and we're all having like tequila and we're just talking about life. And I mean, they've come to my aid and helped me so many times. Um, and one of them who's he is 60 years old. Okay. We were kind of talking about this and he goes, I was, cause he makes sure that he goes out. He owns like an auto body shop after work. He'll go out to the bar and have a chat and talk to people. And he goes, at one point, I kind of stopped doing that and I would just go home and I would watch porn. And I was like, oh, really? So you got addicted? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I think I did. And he's like, but I caught myself and I stopped because I noticed that when I went out and I did sit at the bar, I wasn't interested in the women because I'm like, I'm not gonna pursue her. I have the one on the screen I like better. And so he started to realize how it messed with his brain. And so he's like, I just had to stop because I wasn't being as social. I wasn't dating women anymore. I wasn't. So I stopped. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that can even happen to a 60-year-old man who didn't grow up with this being so easily accessible. That's how tempting and dangerous it is.
Absolutely. So, what is the overall goal for Giovanna? What are you looking to achieve? You've wrote a book. You've got a successful business. What's next for you?
Honestly, I'm not looking at necessarily what's next for me. I've worked so hard to get to this point. I am just enjoying it. I am enjoying doing the podcast. I am enjoying my publisher. my publishing team has a publishing team in-house. So they contacted me and they said, will you write this article? And I was so excited that last night I just wrote the article. I just like got it out and sent it to them. They're probably like, this girl is like, she's really eager. She's excited. And because I am excited, I really am. And I'm enjoying it. So I'm not the type of person anymore where I feel like I need to multitask with a billion things and I need to fill up my life and okay, I did this, I'm on to the next thing, on to the next thing. There will be a time when it'll be time for me to be on my next thing, and I think that will be writing a second book, which I already have an idea for. I've envisioned it. And it's funny because my friend a month ago, I told her my idea. And she's like, oh my God, that's so good. You need to start writing it now. You're a writer now. You need to. And I was like, this pushing and bullying of me is it's not like, I'm like, okay, whatever. You're not going to get me to be that anymore. I'll know in my soul when it's time to put my focus there, because I put my focus into things 100%. Like when I'm talking to you right now, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing after this. I'm just thinking I'm here with you right now, So I'll know when it's the moment to start writing that. And I'll know what comes next when it's timing. I mean, I have dreams, like I said, to write the second book. And I would love, it'd be my like dream if one of my projects got picked up for, a TV series or a film. I think that would be so incredible. So I have my dreams, and I'm just going to see how things play out. And I'm just really grateful, very grateful, and I'm very open to whatever may come.
It's awesome. I love it. So what advice can you offer the audience, especially confused women?
Well, the whole premise of my book and my brand is that confusion is actually a virtue. So the first step is when you're going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And it could be a situation like I just had a kid and I'm not feeling like a super mom. And I'm confused about this, and I'm confused about how to parent. It could be I just went to college and I'm confused. It could be anything, because we're always going to hit this, right? Confusion. And just instead of hating on yourself, rejecting it, feeling shameful, just let it sit with you. Welcome it in. Be like, you know what? I'm confused, and that's okay. I'm gonna sit with this. I'm gonna sit with this feeling of confusion. I'm not gonna shame myself. And instead, I'm going to open the door to discovering something in this confusion. And so that would be my first step.
That's beautiful. I love it. Well, this has been such a wonderful interview, Giovanna, and I'm so pleased to have met you, and I wish you nothing but continued success and much love to you.
Much love to you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
As our conversation wraps up, we are left with the powerful reminder that confusion is not a roadblock, but a gateway. Giovanna Silvestre has shown us that embracing the unknown can lead to profound self-discovery and boundless creativity. Her journey from darkness to light teaches us that the struggles we face can be the very fuel that propels us forward. So, as you go about your day, remember to embrace the present. Welcome confusion with open arms, and trust that each step you are taking is leading you to something greater. Thank you for tuning in to Beyond Transcendence with Andrew, where transformation and growth are always on the horizon. Much love to you all. Bye.